delegates, it's an honor and privilege for me to introduce you to our today's distinguished speakers, Mr. Nimesh Chinoy, Director, Sales and Marketing, Electronics Devices Worldwide, Mr. N. Rajasekaran, National Secretary, Indian Welding Society, Mr. Prashant Chaturvedi, General Manager, Messer Cutting Systems, and Mr. Satish Sawant, Director, Institute of Welding and Testing Technologies. So delegates, get ready to witness an interactive session on welding and cutting, advanced techniques and practices. To start with today's session, I would like to invite all our guest speakers for an interactive panel discussion on welding and cutting, advanced techniques and practices. I would also like to invite the Executive Editor of B2B Purchase, Mr. Sudhir, to join us for this session.
Let's begin with our today's panel discussion with Mr. Rajasekaran. Welding sector has seen a tremendous growth in the recent past with wider applications in various industries using new technologies and maybe from manual to mechanical and then automated. So the technology is moving. So Mr. Rajasekaran, how do you observe the evolution in welding technologies for different applications in India?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Sudhir. Actually, the automation means immediately we are thinking is going to robotics. Robotics are, in my opinion, they are the high end. We have to work on some low-cost solutions for all the issues. Because if you are going for a robot, then the upstream and downstream everything to be automated. It is a high-cost and high-end process. But for me, using the advanced process like the cold wear addition, what I talk, for structural welding, or the tandem MIG welding, these processes has to be taken to the shop floors and site conditions so that the productivity and quality is enhanced. Second thing, automation means for me it is a local mechanized automation, small mechanization. For example, I will tell in my shop when I was working in BHP, there is a component which has to be welded and a welder can do welding only 1 or 1.5 piece per day. And the shop requires every day some 20 pieces. So you have to engage 20 welders or 15 welders to do the job. We made a simple automation where we kept the job and then we took 2 torches on both the sides, then we did the welding. It's a very simple automation. Then 2 operators, they can weld about 20 joints, 20 jobs per day. So always look for a simple automation in the area you are working. Using some trolleys, something movement, then it is better for you to achieve the productivity. Once you achieved the simple mechanization, simple automation, then it is to go for your investment, then other things achieve. That is my idea. I want to answer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rajasekaran, for that insightful answer. And let me know from Mr. Satish, what is your view on this, the evolution of welding technologies, and in the current scenario in practical, how far the technology is being utilized in Indian market?
Looking at the technology, definitely there is a progress is going on, and very specifically in automotive industries, I found it is much matured for going towards the automation, understanding the lean management in welding. Other industries like yellow good and all, we need to check that there is a little more scope available for the improvement of the quality, consistency. And when I'm thinking it is possible to know when McDonald's can serve food all over the world with the same quality and consistency, why not in fabrication we can serve this good quality and consistency of the welding and cutting, everything can be implemented. Only our mindset should be like that. Once we decide to do that, definitely it is possible, absolutely not an issue. But then awareness and the basic quality consciousness, people feel if we'll improve on quality, cost is going to increase. That perception need to be changed, and definitely India is working, and very specifically automotive, even companies like GE, ABB and all multinational Siemens kind of companies, they are focused on this about the new technology and all. So definitely it is improving, but whatever the speed it need to be improved, that speed is a little bit lesser. So all new technology, I think with all our efforts, definitely it will help for India to grow the economy.
Yeah, right. Yes, definitely. What you have mentioned is very, insightful in the current market scenario. The automotive industry, as it is grown in terms of monitoring and control, very automated solutions in the manufacturing setup. But when it comes to welding, a lot of applications are there. Definitely, welding needs to come up to match the current requirements in adopting new technology. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, as new technologies emerging, the evolution in welding with automation plays an important role. So how, Mr. Nimesh, can you shed some light on the latest automation solutions in welding? You have already mentioned when it comes to welding equipment. So in the overall automation, trend in welding industry, Mr. Nimesh, can you highlight some important points on this?
Automation, any industry, be it welding or any other industry, has three critical factors to consider. You need to look at quality, cost, and productivity. What is the reason for which you are getting into automation? There has to be a reason, right? Otherwise, you will have white elephants everywhere just because you want to do automation and then no throughput, no quality, nothing. Automation has got precursors. What is automation? It's going to do a repeated job for you, which means if it's doing repeatedly, you need to have the input material also equally well placed. So as you know, our colleagues Prashant ji mentioned that cutting and the role it has to play in getting the right cut finished so that it can be fed to the automation. Otherwise, the automation will not be able to weld it with the same speed and accuracy or quality that you want. So automation has got a lot of features, and there are a lot of high-end automations already available. So robots were available since I think 70s. The first 4 robots in India and China were installed together, and India was actually leading the installation race back then. Post which the cost of implementation and the reasons for not taking precautions of when you put in an automation system, have you taken care of the upward and uphill and downhill stream? If you don't take care of that, then the resource doesn't get utilized. The ideal cell of an automation that you design should be maximum uptime. Therefore, your job clarity to go into the automation has to be taken care, and post welding it has to be taken care of coming out. I remember a dialogue with one of my good customers, wherein he took me to a shop and he showed me a forklift and said, you need to give me a robo to weld this automatically. And I looked at the robo and I told him, look, you are a better engineer than me, but this is taking you close to about 4 hours to bring the material in place, and weld time is only 18 minutes. So I would buy a material handling robo rather than buy a welding robo. Why you want to do that? He said, because my crane can lift the fork, but my welder who's absent 70% of the times cannot weld. So challenges are different. If you want productivity based on or want to de-skill, then you will have to go in for automation accordingly. Cost of automation depends also on the cost of opportunity that is there. So if you put all those things together, then adaptability of the technology will be much higher. So anywhere, automation is a very vague term. Everybody wants to use it as a jargon, but it is not always required. You have to know whether your particular job suits the automation or not, and whether the cost of doing this is viable or not. If the viability plays a part, then we can move ahead and do it. And adaptability will always remain as long as the viability is worked upon. So it's very important to understand and analyze the application before going in for automation. But today, end of the line automations are available. Cost plays a major hurdle, because when you ask that your input material is not right, then you have to have steam trackers. If you have to have steam trackers, you need additional set of slides, a laser tracker, and that cost itself becomes so high that the project viability goes for a toss. So
yes, right, sir. You have rightly mentioned when you are using automation, you need to be considering the kind of output and input should be continuous and it should be cost competitive. Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. When it comes to technology adoption, as Mr. Nimesh has mentioned, a lot of automation technologies are being used in industries. But then when we use automation and new technologies, it is equally important for the workers or whoever is the personality involved in this jobs needs to be updated with skills. So skill development is a major area of concern in today's industry, especially in welding industry. So how do you look at, Mr. Satish? How do you look at this the challenge of this skill development in welding industry, and what is needed in future?
What I feel basically, skill development generally, looking at the welding trade, new generation is not ready to come to the welding, and they don't want to. Their perception about the welding is it is very difficult and all. I keep on conducting program even abroad. I had seen girls are doing welding abroad. In India, one is that skill has been not well recognized because they are not well paid. Second thing, going for the automation will be the best option, what I feel. Most of the companies, what I learned from my previous organization also, I will ask someone, if you want to sell welding electrode, then looking at welding electrode, they feel, array, what is this? What is great about the selling welding electrode? So, but if I will say you are become an application specialist, then there is a demand. So similarly, when we are talking in industries, what I feel, we should always think about how we can put with the automation, what new name can be given to the welders. Looking at welders, generally people feel welder means, it is something, not paid well and all. So when only skill development and talking big thing about the welding and about the welders will not help, definitely we have to work in such a way. We have to find out this, how people can generate interest. Like when I had discussed with the Nimesh so many times, so it should be like playing a game like a PUBG kind of, people should be able to enjoy something like doing welding also. So how we can generate the interest, how we can do the automation in such a way, the young generation will get attracted. Now the person who is not able to do anything else, then he become a welder. So that is a basic problem. So only talking about the skill development will not help. Whatever, we have to create champions basically, not the welders, what I feel.
Yes, your observation was realistic. Definitely, it was now the welding, the job is the last of, as you said, people are looking for other, white collar jobs, and maybe welding.
Yeah, Ola
maybe
driver
the last
is
job.
better than the driver, a welder.
But
if I can want to make a career as a driver, or he can become doing something else, there is a lot of options available nowadays. Why welder? Why anyone want to become a welder?
Yeah, but I think it will, the things will change as the technology is coming.
I believe I can
yes.
just add 2 words here. I would like to share that the traditional skill set that was being imparted is no longer the case. Now you have, virtual training centers which become like a video game where the youngsters are getting attracted to learn and then come into the field. Second, in any field that you excel, salary is no bar. So I know welders who get paid day as well because that's the skill level they have developed.
But very few. I think Rajasekaran want to say something.
Mr. Rajasekaran, before we comes to you, I would like to also hear from Mr. Prashant. Mr. Prashant want to share something in this. Yes, Mr. Prashant.
Yeah, actually, as Mr. Satish said, it is absolutely right that putting a right name also to the job is really important. Let us say we call them welders, and that's a very common and not so good word. We can definitely call them cutting specialists and joining specialists, something that the industry should look into. In fact, frankly, that the platform gives me also an opportunity that we are now setting up with the government of Odisha, a very big size, welding and cutting lab, what we call as, the Institute of the certificate that is going to be provided under the chairmanship of the collector of Bhubaneswar. We may rethink of naming this certificate itself, just a small bite. What point I was also trying to add it's also on the industry to own a right working environment for the welders and cutters. If you see, I don't want to take names, but when I entered many of the plants, I have traveled more than 500 to 700 plants across India for in my 23 years of career. When you enter the plant, outside you can see a BMW, you can see a nice, Mercedes and all that. But when you go and see the real condition of the workers, then it's really pathetic. They don't have the right PPE equipments, the helmets are worn out, broken, all their gloves are gone out, and they are still using. At times I have seen good quality, the welders and cutters in sleepers. And that really pains me that we do the investment on the office. We will have a wonderful office, AC cabins for all our executives. But when it comes down to spending in these areas, we are really not doing well as an industry. Things are improving. I don't want to be very pessimistic here. Things have improved over a period of 10 years.
Absolutely.
Safety devices were not given earlier. Now they are being given. But we need to really improve their quality of work, the environment that they work around. And that could really attract more talent. That is what I feel. So.
Yeah, I request you to share your views as well as conclude this session. Will you please do that for us?
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I want to support Ms. Satish that about women welders. Women welders, when I was in WRA, along with the Department of Science and Technology, we have trained so many women welders. They got appointment, they got jobbing and everything. But the real problem is in the industry. They didn't have the privacy there. They didn't have the restroom facility, dress changing facility. When it is not provided, they came out actually. And we saw that women welders are doing a better job than the men welders. And even in Kovakudi, in an industrial estate at Tiruchirappalli, we had 18 women welders qualified as per IBR. Even bed joints at Bhopal, they are using more women employees nowadays. But the only thing, the organizations has to come forward to give them the privacy and the dress changing facilities. Then definitely many women will take up the job, and there are a lot of interest for the people to come into that. It will be a good thing actually. Okay, to my concluding remarks, automation and mechanization is really critical for infrastructure sector, and there are opportunities like using the cold wire system or the tandem milling system or the keyhole TIG welding systems for improving the productivity and the quality. Depending upon the human skill, it's going to be a real problem because as we discussed 2024, you need more number of welders, but that is not going to come out of the conventional way. We have to find a way how to mechanize, how to do that automation so that the productivity and the quality can be maintained and we can be on par with other countries. That's it, my concluding remarks.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on welding and cutting, advanced techniques and practices. We hope you enjoyed the session. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Mr. Nimesh Chinoy, Mr. N. Rajasekaran, Mr. Prashant Chaturvedi, and Mr. Satish Sawant. I would also like to thank our executive editor of B2B Purchase, Mr. Sudhir, and our editor, Mr. Prasad Nair, for taking this initiative. So with this, we would like to announce the closing of today's session. I would request you to stay tuned for more such sessions. Thank you and goodbye.